officially the first podcast, the first episode with filmmaker, content creative director, Garrison. Come on in, Garrison, and join us.
What's good?
Someone win. It's nice to have you, man.
How you been?
Good.
Yeah.
Been great, man. Just working. That shit don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Just been grinding, bro. Been trying not to travel, but it hasn't been working.
And you just told me right now when you came in that you're taking another trip this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah. Well,
To
tomorrow actually.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going to Tennessee. I'm shooting a G Herbo music video over there, and then the week after that, I'm going to Jacksonville to shoot this car event. It's all for the FPV stuff, bro. That's what's been huge lately.
And now FPV is what, drone?
Yeah, so the FPV is basically first-person view drone. So you're just wearing goggles, and you're basically in a simulator, but it's real life. Like, it feels like a video game. You're just flying the drone.
That's dope.
It's a next level type of experience.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Now, can you only have the goggles on, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for FPV specifically is only any type of drone where you're controlling it through goggles, because that type of drone has two different cameras. One is a live view camera, so that's what you're seeing when you're flying, and the other one is recording. So those ones have two different types of cameras, and it's just a lot higher learning curve to get into as opposed to like a normal drone.
So what made you start FPV? Like, did it start with videography or?
Yeah, so I mean, just being a filmmaker, I mean, I guess I'll go into like a little bit about me and how I got to this point in the first place, but I actually started off making YouTube videos. I think you knew that, but I started off just on YouTube, making my own vlogs, content about my life, what I was doing, and slowly but surely I started getting hit up to do content for other people. My first ever like gig was working with this YouTuber, and so he was taking me out to LA, to Japan, Vegas, like all these trips just to film content. And that was when I was like, I think 17 when I first started traveling for this. I wasn't making a ton of money off of it. I was just trying to make this work. You know, I was just trying to see if it was actually possible to do film for a living. And so after that job, I got into some real estate, was doing real estate marketing for a while. But through my YouTube, I slowly built up a catalog of music content, like sneaking into Lollapalooza, sneaking into Summer Smash, sneaking to all these festivals, to where I started getting hit up by these managers and people that actually worked at these festivals, and they're like, hey, we saw that you made a video recap. I know it wasn't legit by any means, but we want you to actually come on and film for us. And so that was like kind of how I made my way into the music scene.
What was the first festival?
My first official festival that I got invited to was actually North Coast. Post Malone's photographer had saw my video, and he hit me up basically through the DMs. He was like, hey, we saw your content. We're like, it wasn't actually Post Malone that I was filming for, and they're like, hey, we can get you in, we can get you all access. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So that was my first official festival, was I think fall of 2018. It was either 2018 or 2019 when I got into my first official festival.
Now, how old were you? 2018?
2018, I would have been 17. I was either 17 or 18.
How old are you right now? 22?
21.
21.
Yeah, I'll be 22 this summer. Yeah. But it's just been a gradual progression from sneaking in to now being able to film with some of the people that I always looked up to. It's crazy.
So would you say that like festivals and like live events is like your favorite to film, or like do you
It definitely has been.
Would you go
for
to
a while.
YouTube or?
Yeah, I think live events have always just been where like the most exciting things happen, and so I always like capturing things in the moment. You know, as a filmmaker, obviously there's something to setting up a scene. Like even this right here, we have lights set up, we got the audio set up, everything is set up to where it looks perfect. And there's something to that as like a storyteller, being able to control the elements. But for me, there's also like a lot of interest in capturing things that only happen once. You know, like capturing those little moments where it's like, this will never happen again. Like Lil Uzi jumping off the stage and going into the crowd, like stuff like that.
Especially in big festivals.
It only
too,
happens once.
It could be a viral moment.
But I would say, for the most part, a lot of what I enjoy doing is live events. But I've also really found a knack or a liking towards directing and producing like short films and music videos a lot, because that's where you're able to tell a lot more of your own story and not just capture what's going on, you know?
right?
First time that we met was back in 2021.
I think so.
It was 21.
2021, the holiday show. Was it the holiday or was it one before that?
No, I think the holiday show was the first show.
It's crazy because we've been on a long run. We've worked ever since then, probably by week. Other than COVID that fucked everything up, but we've worked non-stop, back to back to
for
back.
The past 2 years.
From the holiday show to even this hookah bar now, shooting videos for the events, the restaurant. I mean, to have a vision like you got it in the camera, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always tell people is that if you want to do something with your life that isn't just following the normal path, going to college, doing what your parents tell you to do, and just being unhappy, like if you actually have a vision and you have like an idea that you would like to apply yourself to, all it takes is sticking with it. Like if you have a vision that you can like clearly picture in your head, like this is how I want my life to be, and you just go out there every single day and you knock off one task or two tasks or three tasks just 1% better every day is all that it takes to do what you want to do, because sticking with it is the hardest part. And that's where most people fail, is just by giving up. When I first met you, I don't know all that you were doing, but I think most of the shows were just like the Bible shows that we were filming.
Yeah, they were just, it was the beginning, I would say, honestly, to everything. That was during like the building the studio, moving the studio to a bigger location. That was well before even this hookah bar.
Yeah, I remember like
kind of crazy.
You guys opened that new studio location.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
I came through, filmed that recap, and that was like, even what you talked about, how like we started off just doing those events every so often, and now it's like you've opened a restaurant, the other guys have opened a tequila, and it's like throughout all this growth, I'm there doing the marketing, doing the content for all these businesses now. It's like, how many different businesses with like VIP, all that? It's probably like 5 different businesses.
It is like 5 different
that I'm covering just with you guys, and so like that growth is crazy to see.
That's still, I mean, we plan on still like just keep on going.
I don't
keep
doubt
going.
It. Like,
and if we keep on growing, like that's only gonna make your team bigger. It's gonna keep your hustle high. You know, it's gonna create a good network. We're just gonna keep pushing forward, and that's ultimately what you need nowadays. Because I feel like a lot of people are just lonely out there and don't have that friend group. So without that friend group, you have no, you really don't have any support.
No, but it's just been crazy. Like I remember one of the first conversations that we had, it was back at one of those early events, and we were just talking about like a lot of this business isn't about like what you know, but it's about who you know and like how you move. And that's a major factor in success and growth in yourself and your personal brand, and even any brands that you do outside of that. It's all about the connections and the people that you meet along the way. And like it's crazy that we were talking about that like 2 years ago, and to see like people that we've shaken hands with, the things that we've done since then, it's like we've only lived out more and more of what we said we were going to do.
That's part of the reason why I even think this podcast is even a thing right now. Because this can only just see where, you never know. The possibilities are endless, and it could really take us anywhere.
Yeah, that's why I think it's fitting that, like, first podcast, I'm here to talk about just a little bit of
It's only right, especially, I mean, that's how you know how, like, we've had such a good relationship that even you did the setup right here. Like, my idea to do a podcast is only because I knew I had you.
Right.
So I was like, why not?
And that's what I'm here for. Like, with my business and what I do, like, my job is to take people's visions and to turn it into real life. And I feel like not only for you, but like every step of the way of what I've done, like that's always what I try to stay true to, is like taking someone who has an idea and they don't have the means to doing it, and giving them that ability to like actually see it through. If you're using it to your benefit and you're staying true to yourself, then I think the internet is an amazing tool to not only build a brand or build a business, but meet other people that are like-minded. Like that's what got me really into the internet. It wasn't even like trying to make money off of YouTube, making YouTube about this topic or this topic, and then I post it, and there's hundreds of other people around the country that also do that same thing, like doing flips on a trampoline, or like making YouTube videos, or like
you're not as lonely.
Yeah, and so through that, we started building these little meetups, and so I'd be traveling around, going to these events around the country, and so meeting these people in real life was like such a surreal experience, because we'd only talked online. And now some of those people are like my lifelong friends, and like like I'm always traveling, and a lot of that is because of my job now. But originally, why I started traveling was just to be around people that I enjoy spending my time with.
Right.
And so that's why I have friends in all these different states, in Utah, South Carolina, New York, California. It's like when I was first going out to California, like it was only just like for me to be with my friends, and so now to go out there and like
you go very often, don't you?
Yeah, like last year I was.
We're LA, right?
Yeah, LA. I've spent a lot of time in LA. Like specifically last year, I spent like probably 2.5, 3 months out there throughout the whole year, just working.
Now you used to live out there, didn't you?
I
think
said,
you had told me lately.
I said that I was moving out there, but I didn't really like move out there.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend, he's a producer that I met on YouTube. Funny enough, I was making YouTube vlogs, and he was producing like EDM music, and he was like 14 at the time. He's like, "Hey, I'm a 14-year-old producer. I make EDM. If you shout me out in your bio on your YouTube videos, I'll give you free music." And so he was just feeding me these dope remixes and music for me to use in my vlogs in return for like basically giving him publicity. And through that, like I stayed in touch with him. We became like really good friends. I would go up to Wisconsin every so often. He had a studio up there that he was recording out of, and so he had all these clients, these artist clients, and so he would line up packages where, oh, you get this many beats, you get this much recording time, and you get a music video for this amount. And so I'd go up there, film like 3-4 music videos in a weekend, and then that was just kind of our thing, was just going back and forth and collaborating on these little packages. But like earlier last year, he moved out to LA and got his own spot because he was like outgrowing Wisconsin. Like he had so much work going on, so many clients, where it was like where he was going with the music stuff, he had to move somewhere for him to keep going the same momentum. And now he's like a part of OTF, working on Dirk's team and stuff. But like I helped him drive his car out there last I think February it was. And so like from February through like middle of March for like a month and a half, I just stayed out there like at his crib and was just making things happen. Yeah, the rest, like he's just fucking blown up, doing his own thing now. But that's what I love to see, is like other people that had a vision that I've known for a long time, and to see them succeed only pushes me, you know. And I'm sure you feel that same way with your peers. But like whenever I see someone do something that I thought was impossible, trying to figure out how they did it, I go out and try to emulate that. And so then I'm trying to push myself. Oh, then all of a sudden you don't even realize it, but you're doing the things that you thought were impossible because someone else showed you that it was possible.
I think that's what life is, honestly. Like you see you want to do something, you see someone doing it. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be someone doing it better than you too, which is the cool part to me. Right. So whatever I feel like I want to do in life, or I want in life, like someone's already doing it better than you, times 10, all over the country, all over the world, if anything.
Exactly.
So you're just like, okay, well, it is possible. And I think that's half the battle right there. Yeah. Knowing that someone else can do it makes you just feel like, you know what, let me just try it.
Exactly.
And then before you know it, you're way ahead of them.
It's crazy.
Or even halfway, to the angle.
Yeah.
Half of what I've done in life, I've just believed that I could do it, and now I'm here.
It's like going out and posing the question, like, hey, I want to do this. How can I do this?
Right.
And then the rest will fall into place. Right. Most of the time, like, if you have an idea, you have a vision, and that's going back to like what I said at the beginning of this podcast about sticking to a goal. But like, if you just have an idea and you go out there and you put that idea into existence, the pieces are going to line up for you. You know, all the things that you worry about, oh, how is this going to come into play? How is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? It's going to fall into place. You got to just focus on making it happen. You know, you can't stress about all the little things you can't control. Focus on the things you can control. Like, I'm sure that's something you deal with a lot with these live events. Like, something I've always wanted to do is throw my own show. And so seeing you guys in the behind the scenes of how it really works and how all the logistics of making it happen is like, it's a lot more complex than most people probably think.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's all these things that could go wrong, and a lot of times it's like, just doesn't. For whatever reason, it's like things work out.
Things work out.
And it's crazy.
And sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
You know, they sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, but as long as you have the right mind and making sure everything's taken care of that you can take care of. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, half the time everything just turns out good.
Push through it.
You push through it.
That's one thing that like sports have taught me a lot of like about my life and just commitment. Like being able to go all in on things. Like when I was doing skateboarding or doing like backflips and stuff in my backyard, like one of the main quotes I would always repeat to myself is go fast and commit. Because like the only time you're gonna get hurt, the only time you're gonna fuck up is if you don't commit.
Yeah.
If you back out halfway, if you're upside down,
You're fucked.
and you're just like, oh, you're reaching for the ground, you're gonna die.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna break your neck. Something's gonna happen. But if you can just convince yourself for that one moment, hey, I know everything in your body, everything in your mind is telling you not to do this one thing, but if you can just convince yourself to stick with it and just commit and go as hard and as fast as possible, like most of the time, our adaptive brains or like the part of us that is able to react to things on the fly, like the improv part of us, most of the time that will like your instincts will take over from there. You know, like when you're doing something that you've never done before, there's no way to know how you're gonna react until you just put yourself in a situation.
Right.
You have to.
And then before you know it, you come out on top.
Yeah. It's just
what happens.
repetition. You know, after you get to the point where it's like the fear is no longer doing the thing. The fear is, okay, what's next? That's when you start to get that momentum.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, okay, now we gotta follow this up with something bigger and bigger, and then
That's something that I catch myself.
that's where the anxiety comes in for
I'm
me.
just like, all right, cool, fuck, this is big, but what now?
How are we gonna
what's
follow
next?
this up?
What's
exactly.
next? So for a videographer, not as much a drone pilot, but like for a videographer
Yeah,
in general,
like
because
a
that's how you
creative.
started.
Mhm.
What would you say, like what would be your advice to them, like to start? Because I've seen there's a lot of
Yeah.
new coming videographers that. So like, what would you say to them to like, motivate them?
I would say two things. I'd say the first thing, make sure that what you're going after in your life is something that you truly love. And you're not just doing it because you see other people doing it or you see that, oh, this is a fad. Like, pick something that you wouldn't care doing it for free for the rest of your life. Because what I do, like, I purely love it. Like, building the drones or going out on set and setting up all the lights and filming a scene is like, I love every part of that process because it's creative and it comes from within, and so I would say the first thing is making sure that what you're doing is something that's true to you, and then the second thing I would say is just find your own way of doing things, because there's a million other people out here that are trying to go after that same vision, especially like you said, if it's with videography or like a creative, if you're trying to do photography, videography, any of those types of things, like if you're trying to go out there and put yourself in that light, you got to really be something different, something special these days, because there's a ton of other people out there doing it, and there's probably a ton of other people out there doing it better than you. And so finding your own lane, finding your own niche, finding your own style is got to be like the biggest, like if not the biggest, the second biggest thing you should focus on. I would say just finding your own way of doing things and then just sticking to it. You're gonna find your own lane. You're gonna find something that you like to do. And be specific. Like, if you want to go out and do something, don't just say, hey, I want to make videos. Say, I want to make this type of videos. I want to work with these types of people. Or I want to do this type of thing. Because the more specific you can be with your goals, the more likely it is gonna happen.
Some good advice.
Yeah. The better you get at something, the more you do something, of course, the better the quality is, and then the better the quality is, the more you're gonna get paid for it. But at the end of the day, as a creative or as just someone who wants to make art for like through their life, I don't think money should be the main focus.
Right. I mean, that's with everything else too. I feel like, if you're just chasing the money and you really aspire to do something, like you gotta like kind of like put that to the side a little bit and just keep a tunnel vision and just try to do what you do the best, and just let other people notice that until it's like, yo, he's worth something. Or if I book him, he's gonna charge me.
Right.
Where do you see a Garrison in like 5 years?
Right now, in 5
I say
years,
5 because 10 is just too far to think out.
I'll even simplify that. I'm 21 right now. I'll be 22 in a month and a half. By 25, so in like 3 years, where I see myself is having a creative agency where the creatives that work with me and alongside me and under my company are able to focus and to be as specialized as they want to be in their own right, and to be able to get people work in the fields that they actively want to go out and do. Because for me, the biggest struggle has always been being able to just do the things that I want to do and still make enough money to justify it, you know? And especially at the beginning, it was really hard to like fill up my time with things that I want to do rather than just filling my time with gigs or filling my time with jobs or with clients. And so my goal has always been, and for the past couple of years, this is what it's been, is to build a company, build a brand that is able to find and specialize exactly the thing that you need as a company. Like, let's say you need live events covered. We have a part of our agency is specializes in just live events. And so, yeah, the department of live events, those are the people that we can send out to these live events, and they can do exactly what they want to do. Or even if they don't like filming the live events, but they like editing the live events, then they just have to edit the live event videos. Or if, let's say, there's people that only like doing restaurant content, then we can fill their pipeline with just restaurants, and they're able to only focus on what they like to do, or like whatever it is. I want people to be able to specialize in what they enjoy doing, and to be able to not have to adjust their plans or adjust their schedule to doing other things that they don't want to do just to keep it going.
Right.
You know? And so that's my goal for the next 3 years, is to build out a company where I can specially fine-tune content creators and creatives, and that's not just videographers or photographers, but also graphic designers, sound designers, like set designers, production agents, like all these people that are in the creative space, and finding them the jobs that they want to take, and not have to like give them jobs that isn't a useful part of their time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's dope. That way you can keep the certain videographers, or like keep them creative in their own realm.
Yeah.
You know, they like,
that's how you keep from burning out, you know, because as a creative, like I've dealt with a lot of burnout in my career, because there's been times where, hey, rent is due, I need money, but there's not enough gigs that I like coming on. And I mean, back when I was living in the city, I was just taking on whatever I could, because I needed to make money, and I needed to like keep things going. And so whatever it meant, whatever the event was, whatever the shoot was, I was there doing it, and for whatever price too. I was just doing it all because that's what it took. And so I know what it feels like to feel burnt out and feel like you're just doing something just to do it. And I despise that feeling. And so I want other people to not have to face that while getting into this industry, because that's one of the biggest things, is there's not a lot of mentors, there's not a lot of people to model after, to look up to, and how they did it. And so I want to be able to be that mentor. I want to be able to help these creatives make it as smooth of a transition as possible, without having to sacrifice their liking or their morals, or things that you shouldn't have to compromise in order to get a career, you know.
I think you wanting to help them is like the best thing about it too, because then again, it's, you know, we're not talking about money here. You're here trying to help them, keep them comfortable in the realm that they want to be in, so they're not, you know, taking, you know, gigs out of just being eager for money and stuff.
Exactly. And that's always been my biggest goal. Not to cut you off, but like my biggest goal has always been to be able to give my friends, or get people that inspired me when I was like becoming a filmmaker and a director, the opportunity to like come on and work with these things. Like, my biggest accomplishments aren't the things that I've personally done, having worked with some of my favorite artists and worked alongside things, or being at places that I never thought that I would be at. All that is awesome, and I'll never like say anything bad about that, because it's like, that's my life. But the biggest part of my life, or the biggest achievement in my life, has to be the times where I've been able to give back, or where I've been able to bring people on projects that inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Right. And
like, for me to be able to bring my friends, or the people that inspired me on trips to Miami or on trips to LA or wherever it is to work on a project with me, and like working alongside them, that's my biggest like achievement. Is always like giving those opportunities and being able to kind of pay it back to those people that inspired me in the early days, but also paying it forward because I know that's not going to be the last opportunity that we get together, you know. Hell yeah.
It's a good first episode, I feel like. I feel like we had to do this because we actually regularly always have these talks, but with no cameras.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We'll just be on the phone for like an hour and a half, and we're like, dude, this is why we need a podcast. This is why we need a podcast.
I think really that's what inspired me the most to start this podcast. I feel like
Yeah.
just the talks that we'd have, and I was like, you know what, maybe he'll just be the first guest, and you know, we'll just see where it takes us. Not worried about the views, the likes, or anything. I just kind of want to have a platform where people can just hop on, cool people that can just join and just talk about, you know, their life, chop it up with me. People that I want to get to know even more also.
Exactly.
So I think it's perfect. So.
I think especially for Chicago, like it's like around here we all want to hold each other back, and so
it's too competitive.
I feel like having a platform like this is going to be huge, not only to like the people that the audience, but also like to the people who come on this podcast to be able to share their experiences and like to feel more human, you know, like for people to really level with each other and to realize that we're all really not that much different at the end of the day. We're a lot more similar than we like to think, and it's only the media, it's only like all the negativity in the world is the only thing dividing us. So if we can get past all that bullshit, all the politics, all the other shit going on right now, and we can just focus on what we're here to do, I feel like we'll be a lot more effective, not only as like individuals, but as a city, as a collective.
And that's what really I want to, you know, have this podcast to create that and give people the platform to really just be themselves and, you know, grow.
Yeah, for sure.
Network. Be a part of something cool and see where it takes us. But I appreciate you again, bro, for being on the pod. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure. It's a wrap.